There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
But Anthony, listen to me. Don't take a dive with this Jake Paul, mate. Do not do that, not for $1 billion, my pal. Don't do it. Don't do as the others have done. Do not take dives. If he fights you, knock him dead as a nit, and good luck with it.
Tyson says he's going to bet $1 million on Jake Paul knocking out Joshua.
This is what I'm saying.
It's not even about it being realistic or not. Like, it's going to happen. So fasten your seatbelts or whatever. And when I knock him out...
Jake Paul, the internet personality turned professional boxer, has made waves by calling out Anthony Joshua following his victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Turki Al-Sheikh, Saudi Arabia's influential boxing advisor, has reportedly backed the fight, granting it increased credibility. Boxing professionals have largely refused to accept a Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua matchup due to overwhelming concern about the immense physical mismatch and legitimacy of the bout in professional boxing.
Jake Paul has reached out to Anthony Joshua a few times. I've spoken to Nakisa, Jake's manager. It's never a fight we anticipated. It's never a fight we've targeted, but if you want Jake Paul to be the warm-up fight, and obviously financially it's a great opportunity for AJ, and you want to provide AJ and probably in turn Matchroom with the opportunity to extinguish Jake Paul from the world of boxing, then maybe AJ will oblige.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. He's not a joke. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He took a L there. But Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening. It's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face-to-face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's going to fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly going to be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3, because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. Do you know what I mean? You never know.
After defeating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jake Paul confirmed that his long-awaited showdown with Anthony Joshua is looking very likely for next year. He said, "I want to fight Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat Anthony Joshua's. He doesn't have a chin. He's stiff."
And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Jake celebrated the win as proof of his growth and maintains he wants the challenge despite not being a full heavyweight, citing Deontay Wilder's success at lighter weights and embracing the risk. Discussions involving Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh and Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn indicate momentum building, with Joshua indicating openness to the matchup if Paul is serious.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, acknowledged the fight's spectacle potential, but cautioned Paul to be careful what you wish for, underscoring Joshua's danger. Hearn described Paul as crazy enough to pursue the fight, even though Joshua is a legitimate heavyweight monster, pointing out the huge payday awaiting both combatants. However, he emphasized the brutal risk of mismatching the inexperienced Paul against a seasoned AJ, calling it a catastrophic mismatch that could end Paul's career, literally or figuratively.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
However, Hearn has acknowledged Paul's strategy to call out pro boxers that bring in a huge payday. Further fueling the hype, boxing legend Roy Jones offered an unexpected perspective on the possibility of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, one rooted more in caution than spectacle. While Roy acknowledged that a showdown could happen if Joshua truly wanted it, he stressed the bout must make sense for Joshua both competitively and financially. Calling Joshua a legitimate former world champion, Jones firmly stated, "Did you see what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou? The same thing happens to Jake Paul. If you think someone who isn't a full-time boxer will beat Anthony Joshua, then you're crazy."
I want to change subjects just a little bit here. And Anthony Joshua, there's rumours circulating he could be fighting Jake Paul next. One, do you think it's good for boxing? And two, do you think the fight will happen?
I think it's great for boxing. I think the fight will happen. AJ is 1-0 against these guys that come in to these boxing careers late. So why not? He's a perfect guy to take him out too. He took Ngannou out. Why would he not take Jake Paul out? And for him, he'd probably make more money fighting Jake Paul than he will fight anybody else that he can fight right now. So why would he not do it? I mean, not that he needs the money right now anyway, but if he's going to do something, if you want to get a good win to put him back on the scene, that's a perfect win. You get a lot of money doing it.
Dave Farrar and Spencer Oliver discussed a rapidly escalating public debate over whether Anthony Joshua might fight Jake Paul. These discussions intensified after Saudi boxing supremo Turki Alalshik hinted at giving the fight the green light during a TalkSport appearance at Wembley. Alalshik confirmed Paul has verbally accepted a bout and expressed his desire for Joshua to dismantle Paul in a 99-1 style mismatch, calling it a win-win test of legitimacy on both sides.
Then Spencer, from all of that common sense, we talk about this. We talk about the potential of Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul getting it on. He's some promoter, Jake Paul, of himself and of others too. But let's talk about the potential. Could you see this happening?
Do you know what? I think I could. Do you know why? I'll tell you why I can. Firstly, let me just say about Jake Paul. Look, he's been nothing but good for the sport. Forget what people think about him in the ring and, you know, what he's doing in the ring. He's been incredible for women's boxing. Insane for women's boxing. He's really brought it to the forefront, you know, with what he's done with Amanda Serrano and now signing up all these other girls that we've got, Chantel Cameron and all the rest of the girls that he's signing up. Brilliant news. Like, that's fantastic for women's sport, women's boxing. But he's also bringing eyeballs to boxing as well, because he has a huge audience. And with what he's doing now, you're getting these, you know, the younger generation that had no interest in boxing at all, now starting to watch it. So he's transforming so many people. You have to respect that. You know, what he's doing as a promoter, he's doing brilliantly. Now he's calling out Anthony Joshua. Is it real? Does he really want the smoke? I mean, he's got to be an idiot if he does, because Anthony Joshua, let's use this as a comparison. Francis Ngannou called Anthony Joshua out after pushing Tyson Fury the way that he did, and he looked at that and he went in there and he iced him in 2 rounds. Francis Ngannou versus Jake Paul, you got to go heavily on Francis Ngannou, haven't you? So what's going to happen to poor Jake Paul if he boxes Anthony Joshua, this Olympic gold medalist, 2-time world champion?
However, many seasoned boxing professionals have outright condemned the idea. Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has fiercely criticized the prospect of Jake Paul receiving a WBC ranking, branding it a disrespect to boxing. Chisora argued that real athletes work tirelessly to climb the rankings, while Paul, facing non-ranked or past prime opponents, would leap ahead merely due to fame, not merit. He accused WBC president Mauricio Suleiman of trading credibility for money, stating, "That is a disgrace to boxing. That is unfair. Chisora emphasized that meaningful rankings should be earned in the ring, not handed out for clicks or promotional value.
The WBC have said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers, to gain those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Tuesday decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No, that is disgrace to boxing.
Lawrence Okolie has voiced serious concern over Jake Paul's potential showdown with Anthony Joshua, warning that it could pose a grave safety risk. Although Okolie once sparred with Paul and praised his dedication and mindset, he now believes entertaining a clash with AJ, who has elite power and technique, would be dangerously mismatched for Paul. Many boxing pros share this apprehension. Eddie Hearn called it dangerous, very dangerous, while Frank Warren labeled it a big ask, given Joshua's physical advantage.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it just doesn't sit right. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight. Yeah. Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally, but it's good talking point, I guess.
Former world champion Amir Khan echoed the warnings, cautioning Paul he could get killed in the ring with Joshua. On the other hand, Tyson Fury bluntly backed Paul's chances, declaring he'd even bet £1 million on a Jake knockout in the bout. Fury has strongly asserted that Jake Paul could knock out Anthony Joshua in a potential heavyweight clash. Speaking with Ring Magazine before the Usyk-Dubois rematch at Wembley Stadium, Fury declared, "I think Jake Paul knocks him out. I think AJ is a spent force, and Jake Paul is on the rise." He added that Paul's heavier, more muscular look suits heavyweight boxing and praised his fearless challenge mindset across weight divisions. Fury even said he would bet £1 million on Paul, winning the bout outright.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. That's protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still. Sure. Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That's just crazy. That's what you call Richter scale call-outs.
Richter scale, I like that.
Eddie Hearn acknowledged the attention Fury's assessment generated, but emphasized there's nothing evenly matched about AJ versus Paul. As he said in a candid interview, "If it is a 50-50 fight, you've got no problem seeing it, strictly from a promotional standpoint." Yet Hearn made clear, when Joshua dismantles Paul, it won't reflect poorly on him. When AJ renders Jake Paul unconscious, don't then say, "Oh well, it was Jake Paul." Hearn reiterated his long-standing view. The matchup would be a catastrophic mismatch, dangerous for Paul, profitable for AJ.
Dangerous game. So, yeah, I mean, look, it comes with the territory. He's had the big sell. He's been with AJ and Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end. And he's a good kid and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush there, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury announcing he's going to come back to ring? And did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. I thought they were very close. Don't think he won them, but maybe he does fight Usyk again. We can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is, good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully, it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is.
Tommy Fury, the only man to hand Jake Paul a professional loss, ridiculed Paul's ambition to fight Anthony Joshua. Fury reminded fans Paul couldn't beat him even with a broken hand, and stated flatly, "Jake Paul, I'm still your daddy." Fury dismissed the idea of a Joshua-Paul matchup as laughable, declaring it's not worth a shilling, and that Paul's prior loss will always shadow his claims. He made it clear that Paul's bravado means little until proven against real elite competition, and he has no qualms about refuting Paul's confidence squarely.
I wanted to give a little opinion on everything I've been seeing on social media lately. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Just wanted to come in here and remind everybody that that bum couldn't beat me when I basically had a broken hand. I had one hand and he still lost. Jake Paul, I'm still your daddy, and everybody weighing this fight up, don't bother, because he ain't worth a shilling. And the loss will always be there, Mr. Paul. Take it easy and have a good day.
Simon Jordan has refused to accept the notion that Anthony Joshua should entertain a fight with Jake Paul. Jordan emphasized that Joshua, despite recent setbacks, is a credible world champion whose legacy shouldn't hinge on a crossover bout. He warned the fight would do nothing for the sport, questioning whether fans or broadcasters would take a match between a seasoned heavyweight and a part-time influencer-turned-boxer seriously. Citing the importance of long-term reputation and commercial viability, Jordan insisted Joshua deserves matchups with legitimate contenders, not spectacle-driven events.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not, he's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work, but you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul.
Forget
Jake
a lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does, but Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddle with this, does he?
Yeah. No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last, now you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money you'll probably ever make.
Former UFC contender turned boxer Darren Till strongly supported Paul, addressing reports of Joshua versus Paul potentially being close. Describing the involvement of Saudi promoter Turki Alalshik as hypocritical, Till blasted him, saying, "Get the out of here." He added that Paul enters the fight with nothing to lose, emphasizing Joshua's glaring vulnerability under pressure, remarking, "Joshua is not the strongest mentally, Jake Paul doesn't give a fuck," insisting his mental toughness gives him an advantage if the bout materializes.
Don't put it past Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it, because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
you really think he's got a chance?
Why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. Mate, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head, because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he? But
what do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I'd love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point, you were good friends.
I'm still good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking, so yeah. Is this not what we're on?
Fair enough.
Is everyone not fake, or no? We all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Shut your mouth, Tyson. Shut your trap.
A former three-weight world champion and former ITV boxing commentator, Duke McKenzie, has voiced strong opinions criticizing the idea of Anthony Joshua fighting Jake Paul, especially in the context of crossover matchups. McKenzie slammed the rising trend of YouTubers and MMA fighters stepping into boxing, calling it misguided. On Joshua's bout with ex-UFC champion Francis Ngannou, he warned it could have ended in tragedy, arguing the MMA fighter should never have been in there with Joshua. McKenzie emphasized boxers and MMA pros should stick to their own arenas, urging them to stay in their lane to preserve safety and integrity in the sport. Many boxing analysts and fans feel Jake Paul has lost his mind, pointing to his controversial decisions and promotional stunts. On Reddit, detractors slammed Paul as arrogant, underwhelming, and undeserving of boxing hype. He has not accomplished anything in the sport. You bring in followers, not fans. Others called him a grifter and a gimmick whose persona overshadows any boxing merit. With frequent accusations that his popularity is manufactured rather than earned, many feel Paul has crossed from entertainer into caricature.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony, he took a big L with Daniel Dubois. But Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. He's not a joke. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He took an L there. But Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%. It's happening, it's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face-to-face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's going to fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly going to be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3 because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. Do you know what I mean? You never know.
Do you think Jake Paul actually stands a chance against AJ? Is this fight good for boxing or a total circus? Let us know in the comments below.